Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So what we're discussing here, we're discussing tanazul al-fi'lan, right? And we're mentioning that if you have two fi'ls and they both need one amil, two fi'ls and they both need what? One amil, then it's tanazur, okay? And wherever you make the first or second, according to everybody, it's not a problem. Except for Ra, he says if you get a scenario where you get izmar qabla dhikr, then you can't do that. We did that yesterday. And then we said, however, there is a difference. Now the whole discussion is not about permissibility, it's about what is better. So Ahlul Basra say, you make the second verb the amil. That's better, because of qurb al-jiwar. And we went through all the scenarios. We said what? That if the two verbs need one ma'mul, then you make the second one, according to Ahlul Basra, the amil, and you do izmar, you put the zamir of that mutanaza' fi, of that disputed word, on the first if it's a fa'il. If it's a maf'ul, you remove it. Because maf'ul is za'id extra, you can survive without the maf'ul bihi. Correct? But we say here, if it's not fa'lul qalb, maybe we mentioned that condition above yesterday, that if it's not fa'lul qalb, you can do that. If it's fa'lul qalb, it's different. So before we go on to this masala, let me explain fa'lul qalb briefly. It'll come up later on in the qism thalith in fails. And another masala, two masala I want to explain to you shortly. Zaydun muntaliqun. What's Zayd? Mubtada, and muntaliqun is? Muntaliqun means walking, mashing. If you said qa'imun, it would have been easier. But they said muntaliqun, okay? Walking. Now this is mubtada and khabar. And we say, what's the mubtada? Musnad ilay, and muntaliq is the musnad. And musnad ilay are the ruknan asasiyan, are the two fundamental parts of a sentence. If you remove any of these two fundamental parts of a sentence, you can't do what? The sentence doesn't exist. Yes? If I say ra'aytu, if I say for example, ra'a Zaydun Khalidan. What will happen here now? This is a musnad. This is musnad ilay, and this is a maf'ulun bihi. This is what? Fadla, extra. This is what? Extra. So without this, the sentence is still fine. So normally maf'ul bihi is fadla. But in af'alul qulub, the maf'uls are not fadla. When I say zanantu Zaydan muntaliqan, I think Zayd is standing. So zanantu is fa'il, shadda is wrong. Zanantu Zaydan muntaliqan, that's fa'il and fa'il. Zaydan is maf'ul awwal and muntaliqan is maf'ul bihi thanin. But in here, this still remains the musnad ilay. And this is the musnad. This is the fadla. Correct? So this maf'ul bihi and this maf'ul bihi thanin is different to this maf'ul bihi thanin, maf'ul bihi. Why? Because these are fadla, these are umda. I can't say zanantu Zaydan or zanantu muntaliqan. In here I can say a'taytu Zaydan qalaman, I can say a'taytu Zaydan or a'taytu qalaman. I can remove one maf'ul. You can't remove any of the maf'uls in fa'lul qalb. Because it basically means Zaydun muntaliqan, I think. I think Zayd is. And stop. I think Zayd is what? Do you understand? Similarly, this is the fadla. Hasibtu Zaydun muntaliqan, same hasiba. But he used hasiba in the examples. So this is musnad ilay, this is the musnad, and that's the extra. And fa'lul qalb means thinking. I think mubtada to be khabar. I think mubtada to be khabar. That's what it really means. Fa'lul qalb. You make the mubtada and the khabar into maf'ul awwal, maf'ul thani. That's called a fa'lul qalb. And the fa'l is a thought a verb of thinking or thought, etc. Do you understand? Make sense? Yes. Yes? Now, so for example here, now, point number one finished? Point number two. Point number two is useful. It come up in later on as well. It come up in izmar qabla dhikr and all that. It's important. So I think this is a very important point. You have something called tartib lafzi and something called tartib rutabi. Anybody watch car racing? Go-kart racing? You mean car racing, go-kart racing? No? Huh? Yeah. So let's say for example there are two cars racing, right? One is lapping another car. This is our racetrack. Right? This is our racetrack. Okay? And they're racing about 55 laps. And car number one is here. He's in the leader of the race. And the car who's in a 20 position, he's here. He's getting lapped. And this is the finish. Who's in front at this point? They're going this way. Who's in front? But on track, who's in front?
The one who's being lapped.
Who's being lapped. And who's in front in position-wise? Carnamore, he's right behind. Carnamore is right behind of him. But he's lapping him. So in terms of loves, what you can see, 20 is in front. But in terms of rutbah position, who's in front? Number 1. So he's coming out to, he's doing one extra lap. Okay? Or for example, like me when I go jogging, I get lapped all the time. I have all the fast runners. So then people like me, we seem that we're ahead of the fast runners, but they come behind the lap us about 2 or 3 times. Yes? So similar example. Yes? So darabani wa akramtu Zayd. So what we're saying here, you have tartib lafzi and you have tartib rutabi. So in here, if you look at the example, who comes first in here? Daraba. This is lafza, what you can see in wording. Daraba comes first. What comes second? Ni. Then akramtu. Akram, then 2 the fa'il. Then Zaydun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What you can see on paper. That's the actual wording, that's a tartib in words. But you get something called tartib al-rutabi or rutbatan. In terms of the actual order, not in terms of what's on paper or what's on track, but what it actually officially counts. So here, daraba is a fa'il. What's the tartib of jumla? Fa'il, fa'il, maf'ul. Who's the fa'il of daraba? Zaydun. So who's second position? Because he's a fa'il of daraba. So his position is second, even though he comes at the end. And then this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth. So when you do izmar qabla dhikr, you have to remember, Zayd is coming before them. Not in love, but in rutbah. Do you get what I'm saying? So let's say, for example, if I say, darabani wa akramtuhu. Who is in so in this scenario, who is in first, second, third, fourth? First, second is mistake here. Third, this is supposed to be fourth. This is fifth. And he's 6, isn't he? So if you say who, Zamir refers to Zayd. Is who coming before Zayd in loves? In rutbah? So it's not izmar qabla dhikr. Because really he's supposed to be here in position. So when you talk about izmar qabla dhikr later on, izmar qabla dhikr is only permissible when it comes before lafzan and rutbatan. Do you understand? Has everybody followed me? Do you understand that what I've just mentioned? Loves and rutbah? Okay? Yes? Please let me know if you've understood. So, as izmar qabla dhikr is only impermissible when it's izmar qabla dhikr lafzan and rutbatan. So if I say darabtu akramtuhu here, so it comes before who in loves, not in rutbah. Because in position, he's actually in second position. Do you understand? Okay? Yes? Now that we've got this, we've understood this, let's move on now. What he's saying here, if we have 2 fi'ls, وَإِن كَانَ الْفِعْلَانِ مِنْ أَفْعَالِ الْقُلُوبِ, meaning what? The tanazu of the 2 fi'ls are fi'l qalb. يَجِبُ إِظْهَارُ الْمَفْعُولِ لِلْفِعْلِ الْأَوَّلِ. What are we doing? Making the second amil. Yes? So what do you have to do? We have to bring the maf'ul of the first. Normally what do? We remove the maf'ul, don't we? We said yesterday, we remove the maf'ul. Do you want to repeat the rutbah part? Loves and rutbah part? Or just what we just mentioned right here? Yes, okay, look. Okay, look. So let's explain loves and rutbah again, okay? So let's say, for example, okay? If I say, Zayd and his ghulam is always in trouble. Daraba Zaydun ghulamahu. Okay? Then we have daraba ghulamahu Zaydun. Okay? Now, the Zamir who refers back to who? Zayd. Who's coming first? And in this example, who's coming first? In loves, isn't it? What about rutbah? Because fa'il, fa'il, maf'ul. So lafzan and rutbatan, who's coming first? The zamir or the marji', the antecedent, the thing referring back to? This is correct. Loves and correct rutbatan. If it daraba ghulamahu zaydun. In loves, is the zamir coming before the word? In loves, what's coming first? Who? Then Zayd. That's a problem, isn't it? When you look at the real order, it's okay because daraba zaydun, this is okay as well. This izmar qabla dhikr in loves only, not in rutbah. Because in rutbah, what comes first? Who's in first position? First position, second position, third position. So really Zayd is coming first. It's not a problem. You understand? Yes? You get it? So we say here that izmar qabla dhikr is only impermissible. For example, what's not permissible? Daraba ghulamuhu Zaydan. Is that permissible? No, because who is coming before Zayd? In loves and also in rutbah, because what comes first? Maf'ul bihi comes first, then the fa'il comes first. But this is not permissible. Have you understood that? So izmar qabla dhikr has two aspects. Loves and rutbah. So if you have izmar qabla dhikr in both of them, then that's impermissible. If you have izmar qabla dhikr in one of them, that's allowed. Are you following? Have you understood this? Is it clear now? Yes. Now we've understood this, now we can go forward. What are we saying here now? Yeah, what are we saying? What's up with my mouse? One minute, this card. Start again. Just leave it, don't off it, doesn't matter. Everybody's familiar with the right. We're not a professional club, we're just students studying knowledge. Me and all everybody else. So if it got little bits and bobs in the videos. Yeah. If you're looking professional, then that's not here. We just focus on our thing. Right. So we're saying here now, if both the fi'ls are fi'lul qalb, can you remove the maf'ul bihi thani or maf'ul bihi awwal of a fi'lul qalb? Remember I told you before, the maf'ul bihi thani and maf'ul bihi thanin are the mustalayn in fi'lul qalb. In a normal verb, what are they? Fadla, extra parts. So if the fi'l is fi'lul qalb, you can't remove the maf'ul bihi. So if the two fi'ls are fi'lul qalb, يجب إظهار المفعول للفعل الأول. You have to bring the maf'ul of the first verb. For example, he says here, look. So now what we're saying here, we got tanazul fi'lan. So the blue means this is one part and yellow. Now generally speaking, if you look at tarkib, we say here, hasiba fi'l, ni is maf'ulun bihi, and muntaliqan is maf'ulun bihi fa'anin. Who's the fa'il of hasibani? It's supposed to be Zayd, but because it's tanazu, both want Zayd. But we're making hasibtu so hasibtu is fa'il, tu is a fa'il, Zayd is a maf'ulun bihi, and muntaliqan maf'ulun bihi of is maf'ul bihi fa'anin of this. Normally what do we say? You would remove the maf'ul bihi of this word. But in here, we brought both maf'uls. We brought maf'ul bihi here, and we even brought this maf'ul bihi. Why? In the previous example, if we had darabani, we had darabani. What? You see here, darabtu wa akramtu. Ya akramani Zaydun. So who's darabtu? Who did I hit? But do we bring the maf'ul here? We said no. It's extra. We don't want izmar qabla dhikr, remove it. Because we are allowed to remove that maf'ul. This maf'ul is removable. Is ni and muntaliqan removable? Because hasiba is fa'lul qalb. Fa'lul qalb maf'ul cannot be removed. So normally we would remove the maf'ul bihi or the fa'lul qalb in tanazul fa'lan. But here we're not allowed to do that. Because the fa'lul qalb, you cannot remove the maf'ul bihi of the fa'lul qalb. Does that make sense? So that's why we have to bring ni maf'ul bihi and maf'ul bihi thanin. And normally in tanazu, you don't bring the maf'ul bihis. When you do imal when you make the second verb the amil. Okay? Right. Why? Since لا يجوز حذف المفعول من أفعال القلوب, since it is not permissible to have what? To remove the maf'ul from فعل القلب. Yes? وإذمار المفعول قبل الذكر. And you cannot also do مفعول, you cannot do الضمير of the مفعول before the dhikr. So if you go back here, so he's saying here two things. You can't say حسبني إياه. So he's saying, okay, one option is you remove both of them. Another option, why don't we just say حسبني إياه and say إياه refers to منطلقا. Why not? Because that is ضمير قبل الذكر. You bring in the إياه before the ضمير, the word. That's not permissible. So you can't remove it and you can't bring a ضمير. You have to bring the ism al-zahir. Are you following? Yes? And he says, هذا هو مذهب البصريين. This is the Basriyun madhab. So only half is done. The next half is what? Madhabu Ahlul Kufa. So we'll leave Ahlul Kufa for tomorrow, inshallah. Again, yes? So if you want to study Nur al-Nur, if not, let's just quickly recap again, right? It's not that difficult, but it's just compared to the level of things that we've been studied. So what's happening here? So everything is permissible except Farra says it's not permissible. Why? Is ma qabla dhikr. Because, yes? And they move on. In these scenarios, what's happening here? There's an example. So we say here, darabani wa akramani zaydun. So daraba, zaydun is a file of akrama, darabani is own maf'ul. So what do we do here? We say who is a zamir in here? Zaydan is a file of akramani, so you have a zamir in here. You make this a amil, a file of that, you bring the wow file in here. Correct? Then, in these examples, this is the maf'ul of this, you bring a zamir in here. This is the maf'ul of this, you bring the zamir file in here. The maf'ul of this, you bring zamir file in here. Okay? Correct? Yes, the same thing goes on, same principle goes on. This is maf'ul of this, you bring zamir in here. So, in here, if it is a maf'ul, you remove the maf'ul. So, Zaydan is a maf'ul of this, you don't bring a zamir here. This is a maf'ul of this is a maf'ul, you can't bring the maf'ul because you have isma qabla. You can't bring who before Zayd. You can't bring huma before Zaydain. You can't bring whom before Zaydin. So when the maf'ul, if the first verb needs a fa'il, you bring the fa'il because it must have a fa'il. And if it needs a maf'ul bihi, what do? You remove the maf'ul bihi. You following? But if it's fa'lul qalb, same thing here. This is the fa'il of this, you don't bring the maf'ul here. This is the fa'il of this, you can't bring the maf'ul here. This is no maf'ul of this one. If it's fa'lul qalb, what do you have to do? You have to bring the fa'il. Why? You have to bring the maf'ul bihi. Like here, you have to bring the maf'ul bihi. You have to bring maf'ul bihi. Normally this will be hazaf in it. It will be hazaf. But here you can't do hazaf because fa'lul qalb, the maf'ul bihi can't be removed of this. Okay? And then we'll go on to madhab al-Kufiyin tomorrow, inshallah. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.